Yo, what's good, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. The Music is My Business podcast, live Q&A, where we talk about music production, music business, and music licensing. If you love any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream so far. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do so I can see who's in the building. And then we're going to dig into some questions, man. Shout out to everybody. Man, what's today? Wednesday. Today has been all over the place for me, man. It's been crazy. So today is it's first day of preschool for our oldest son. So we've been like running around getting ready for that this week. And then we like switch schedules because he needs to be picked up and dropped off. So we're like trying out new schedules and stuff. So it's crazy, man. We all over the place. I ain't got nothing done today. This is the first productive thing business wise that I've done today. So shout out to y'all for being a part of my first act of productivity for the business. So that's how my day is going. We got Raymond Poozer in the building from Atlanta, singer, songwriter, bassist. Super dope, man. Appreciate you coming through. Who else do we have in the building? We got Geek Edwards from Pontiac, Michigan, artist manager. And I just found out about you like 2 days listening to you on Apple Podcasts. Yo, that's what's up, man. Appreciate you listening to the podcast. Shout out to Apple Podcasts for hosting the podcast. Super dope stuff. So hopefully you find out some helpful information on this episode along with the previous episodes. And yeah, man, just glad I can help everybody out there who's on their music production and writing and artist journey. We got Thomas in the building, producer from Florida, currently based in Nashville. Nice. I bet you like the less humidity in Nashville versus Florida. It gets sticky in Florida, man. We got Britt Fox Studios in the building, artist, producer in Cleveland, Ohio. Stand up. Let's go. That's the home state. I love it. Eugene Ward, what's good? Producer from New York City, trying to learn this passive income life. Man, I feel you. That's what it's about, man. Yo, it's crazy. Maybe we'll get into it later in the show, but I want to there was something, it was a random thought that dropped in my mind about just the power of being able to create passive income with your music, specifically through sync. That's the vehicle that I use to create passive income. But it can be like, it has multiple benefits, more than just getting your music placed on TV, more than having some added credibility and things like that. And of course, the income that can be involved with it. But there's some other advantages, and I'll talk about that a little later on in the show. We got Creative Aaron. What's good? Good to see you. Cat and Tiger, what's up, from Redwoods. We got G's Town, singer, songwriter, and producer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where legends are born. Oakland, California, producer. Follow you on IG. You drop gems, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who follows on IG as well. Yeah, man, dope group of people over on IG and YouTube, man. Everybody in this little community is just super dope. No complaints from most of y'all. Some of y'all are kind of weird, but it's all good. No, I'm playing. We're all weird, right? We hear music in our heads and we make it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that qualifies for weirdness. Michael Connor Music, what's good? Composer, musician, arranger from Vancouver. One Chessman from Connecticut, sync producer in ATL. We got Brooklyn in the building. What's up, Kaboom Beats? Yo, dope. I see y'all, man. So drop your questions in the chat. I'm ready to answer some questions. Drop them. It can be business. It can be sync. It can be, what else? What else do we talk about? It can be production. We can geek out on whatever. Let's go. I'm ready. Creative Aaron, sync producer, mix engineer, based in Phoenix. So I guess while we're waiting for the questions to roll in, I'll talk about the thought that just kind of dropped in my mind. And this is a thing, and I don't think a lot of people think about it. So when you are able to monetize your music and do it in a way to where it can generate some sort of predictable income or some sort of frequent income for you on a regular basis, such as royalties, right? Royalties come every quarter. And if you can build up a decent enough catalog that can generate royalties for you every quarter, that can be a good thing. And licensing, you're able to do that by getting, multiple tracks placed in TV and film. And then once you get your royalties up to a certain level, it kind of, you kind of reach a floor, like, it goes up and down, right? It's never like just this constant amount, but it goes up and down. But then you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, over the past few years, it's never reached below this floor or whatever. So once you get to a certain level and you've been able to monetize your music, you have a catalog of music that works for you, it makes money. Now you have an income producing asset. It's no different than, say, real estate. If you have rental properties, those are income producing assets. And what can you do with an income producing asset? You can borrow against that asset. You can borrow money against that asset. So in regards to sync, you can, once you've built up enough in royalties and you got royalties coming in from a catalog of music, you can borrow against that. You can take out a loan. So if you're trying to buy a house or you're trying to get a down payment for a car or something like that, and you need cash and you don't have it liquid in your bank account, then you can say, hey, I have this catalog of music that generates X amount of royalties every quarter. Can I take a loan out on that and then just let the royalties, gradually pay back the loan, or however it's set up? There's different ways you can do it. Sometimes there's even investors who invest in a percentage of an income producing music catalog. So if your music is on TV, it's generating royalties. There are investors who will invest in a percentage of that catalog for a certain amount of years, because they know it's gonna bring back money. So they'll cut you a check for, say, I don't know, 10, 15, whatever, 20%, whatever the percentage is, percent of, whatever tracks you want to include in this deal. And then, the PRO can route whatever royalties, however they have it set up. There's it's different companies that kind of do this stuff, but that it's another opportunity. So, when you're able to gain knowledge on how you can build an income producing asset with your music and get it out there making money for you, it can be a tool, at your disposal to do other things, like just in your personal life and your business life. If you want to take that loan, reinvest it back into your business or in coaching or whatever, so you can grow your business, you're able to do that. So it's like, you got to think outside the box. It can be really, really powerful. So let's dig into some questions, man. That was just a random thought that popped in my head and I thought it was interesting. And I don't think a lot of people think about those advantages. So Bat Dog Records: should a producer get 20% on royalties from an artist for producing an album? I feel like a producer get 50%. Usually, I mean, of course, it depends on how many writers you have involved on the record. If we're talking an indie artist, usually every indie artist I work with, if they're writing, then we would just do 50-50. If it's just me and them, we just do 50-50. That's just usually how it goes. But then if there's multiple writers, then we're just splitting whatever against multiple writers. So if you have 5 other writers, then 20% for a producer, and then all the other writers would make sense. But that's really a discussion that you all have to have on on what's fair. But usually it starts at whoever's writing and producing. that's usually where I start. What's the best resource for sync? Got to be more specific. I'm not sure, cause depending on what are you trying to, like, the best resource for getting placements, the best resource for learning how to get started in sync, the best resources for studying music that works for sync. So if you can be a little more specific, I can answer that more specifically. Yes, Michael Connor Music. Royalties equal asset. Facts. G-Sound, how would you pitch full songs with vocals, and who would you pitch them to versus production or stock music? Sometimes the same publishers that I'm pitching, production music to, production instrumentals to, a lot of times they're accepting vocal stuff as well. So a lot of these companies overlap in their needs for vocals and instrumentals. And then, you can also go with more smaller boutique libraries who kind of specialize in signing artists who are out there and, trying to build a brand for themselves. Those are like kind of the small libraries where you'll see on their roster, you'll see a lot of artists, with full songs. So those would be good companies to kind of pitch to. And like music supervision companies, I think would be a great approach. If you're an artist and you have full songs and things like that. Excuse me. What percent do you sign to exclusive libraries versus non-exclusive? Both are usually like a 50-50 deal. Depending on the library. I keep getting no thank you. We're concentrating on music that suits our clients. Responses from libraries. Any advice? I would ask them, like, I hate responses like that, G, like, because it's like, okay, I understand we want to serve the clients, but if you don't tell me what they're looking for, I don't know. I'm just trying to start the conversation. So what I would say is, well, what are your clients currently looking for? If it's something that, I'm great at, or, that I'm good at, I would love to submit some of that and then see what they say. That's what I would say. Cause it's like, it's not telling me anything. Like, that's the goal, but you got to tell me what they want and I can send it. So yeah, that's what I would say, G. I would ask them, what are their clients currently looking for? And then kind of go from there. Keep the conversation going. Let's see. Do you think writing full songs is easier to get placed than instrumentals? Not really. I don't think one is easier than the other. I think there's opportunities for both. I think with a full song, I think you have twice as the opportunity, I guess, as far as landing the placement, because they could either use you can get the placement with the instrumental or the full song. So, you kind of got 2 in 1 with a full song, whereas an instrumental, either the instrumental works or it doesn't. If it's a full song, if the lyrics doesn't work, but they love the track, maybe they'll use the instrumental. So, yeah, but there's opportunities for both. What's the best resource for getting placements on movies, commercials? Same thing, same approach. Libraries, sync licensing agencies, movies. You can go. You can try, if you do trailers, like there's libraries who specialize in trailer music. So like trailer music houses and things like that. You can search for those. Music supervisors who work on movies. You can go on imdb.com and search for music supervisors, or go search for the movies and then go through the credits, go to music department, look for music supervisor, and then research that music supervisor. It's possible they may work for a music supervision company that you can reach out to, or you may be able to reach out to them directly. So yeah, that's where I would start with that. Let's see. I just started, but I've had producers with major placements hit me up for collabs. 3 different producers to be exact. 2 of them asked for a fee for the collab. Is this normal? I have producers with major placements. So you just started. You have producers with major placements reach out to you to collab, and they asked you for a fee. That's weird to me, in my opinion. Now, I understand there are producers who offer collabs as a service and there's a fee. And I understand that perspective, but they're not actively like hitting producers up like, yo, you want to collab with me, pay me. It's more like, this is a service I have. So if you reach out to me wanting to, for example, if a producer reach out to me is like, yo, Clint, I want to collab, and they know that I could possibly get that music placed in a TV show, in a film, that could be valuable to a up and coming producer, and they may be willing to pay me a fee just to collab, just to have that opportunity. I don't offer that as a service. I don't charge when I collab, but you know, I understand that perspective. But if someone with major credits is reaching out to you, and then asking you for the fee, you didn't reach out to them, then that's weird to me, in my opinion. Because it's like, yo, I mean, why? That it doesn't make sense. If you're focused on, you know, the major placements, but you're the one reaching out to all the up and coming producers, it's just like, yeah, that's just I don't know about that. So I would be cautious of that. And you know, you just put the work in to get where you want to go in your career. And just invest in yourself through knowledge and information, so you don't end up in weird situations. If you get a placement and a director of a movie hears it and thinks, oh wow, I love that, who composed it, is there any easy way for them to find out so they can contact and find you to hire you? If I get a placement and a director of a movie hears it and thinks, oh wow, I love that, who composed it? That's a good question. So like if they're watching something and like, yo, that's a great piece of music. I don't know. Like I don't know what that would look like from their perspective. I'm sure there's ways to find out who composed a piece of music. I mean, they create cue sheets for the stuff. So my guess would be, if they wanted to know that bad, number one, if it's like a song, they could Shazam it, and that could possibly lead them to the artist. So that's a possibility if the song has been released. And then if they're connected and they can reach out to people who work behind the scenes, I'm sure they can figure it out, if they really wanted to. But that's a good question. That's interesting. I'm not sure how often it happens. But I'm sure they can, if they wanted to figure it out bad enough, I'm sure they can figure it out. When pitching production, should I stick to one style within hip hop or try to show different styles? I like to stay focused with the first pitch, if at all possible. And, you know, I think it makes it easier for them to, for example, if I was pitching something now and I'm new to this, I'm just starting out, and I'm reaching out to different companies. I'm just starting from scratch. Right now, I know NFL season, football season, college football, these are like around the corner, right? So the demand for music and sports is about to be mad high. So I'm going to create a playlist geared towards high energy sports stuff. And then I'm going to just pitch that because I know that's what's in demand. And then I'll use that to get in the door. Then once you're in the door, you have a deal, you started building a relationship with the company, then you can kind of sprinkle in some of the other stuff that you do, and take part in some of the other opportunities in other genres of music. But I would stay focused, and there's more than one way to do this, right? Like, my advice isn't the only route, but this is how I personally like to approach it, is to stay focused with like one strong genre that gets used a lot in TV and film, and then go from there. But all of that kind of falls under hip hop. So, you may be able to, it's a hip hop playlist, and that, you got drill, trap, boom, bap. It's all, it's all connected some way. So you may be able to kind of get away with that and just title it, hip hop cues for TV. But definitely make sure you're sending something, that's in demand. Watch TV. How do you find out what's in demand? You watch TV. You watch the shows. You listen to the commercials. And you start to take notes of what you're hearing a lot. Pull out that metronome and just start seeing what BPMs are working. You know what I mean? You can download a metronome app, and that's a nice way to kind of see what stuff is working, man. Let's see. I'd rather that they say the mix is bad or not. Yeah, I know something where it's like, okay, I can improve on that. But man, that's the crazy thing, man. And that's why I do the live music reviews, which we'll be doing tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube as well. To see if your music's ready for TV. But that's why I do them, man, because they don't give you like detailed information a lot of times. Sometimes you'll get a cool person to kind of give you a little more detailed feedback, but sometimes it's just like not what we're looking for. And I get it, because they're busy too. So man, yeah, it's crazy. Lorenzo, my guy, I'm good, man. Hope all is well. Glad you are a part of the live Q&A and the channel and the community as well, man. Super dope. So yeah, how long can it take to get brief response? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get the brief, you work on the brief, you submit it, and then you just you don't hear anything else. That's it. It's just like, that's why you just create, submit, and forget, because dude, you'll wreck your brain waiting for them to respond and say if they liked it or not. They may not. They may hit you back. I've sent the song out for a brief one time. Did all the paperwork, sent the song to the company, the publisher, did all the things, man. And I didn't hear anything I didn't hear from them for months. And then the top of the following year, I had a check in the mail from some Adidas placement on, I think it was like Adidas Media. It was like an online thing. And I had no idea. They didn't let me know. I didn't know it was even being considered. Adidas used it. They cut a check. I was thank you. So sometimes you just don't get a response. You don't know. You just get a placement or you don't. You just keep your head down and keep working. It's crazy. It's a crazy way to work, but it is worth it, man. It's fun. How many songs do you recommend submitting, pitching at one time? A minimum 2,000 songs minimum. No, listen, you don't have to have a large catalog of music to start pitching it for TV and film. You can start with 5 tracks, man. Like, I didn't have a lot of tracks when I started. 5 tracks, 5 strong tracks is all you need. Because think about it. If you're reaching out and you're submitting to companies for the first time, they really just want to hear if you know what you're doing. If you can create TV ready music, 5 tracks is more than enough for them to be able to tell if you're good at what you do or not. They'll let you know. Honestly, you could probably get it done with 3 tracks, but I think 5 is a solid number. That's usually what I go with. The students, producers that I coach and mentor and things like that, I have them all start off with just 5 tracks. Let's build 5 strong tracks and, go from there. Let's get feedback. And then we can make adjustments along the way, but start off with 5. That way it gives you some sort of end goal to create 5 tracks. That's doable. Anybody can do that. You can be working 60 hours a week and you can find a way to create 5 tracks in the first month or so. So creating those tracks, that way you're not sitting here stuck like, man, I'm just trying to build this catalog. I need I need 1,000 tracks out there working for me to build up the royalties. Like, you'll never start. You'll be overwhelmed because you're trying to get to this astronomical number and you'll just stop. You'll burn out. So start with 5 tracks and then submit those, because this is what happens. This is what I found. I had a catalog of beats that I've made over the years when I first, got started in sync and started my own road to 10 placements. And some of those tracks I went back, retweaked, restructured, and things like that. And some of those tracks got placed. But once I started working with companies and getting licensing deals and stuff, I started creating new music for their briefs anyway. So it was like, you may waste a lot of time trying to knock out 200 tracks before you start pitching, when all you need is those few to get started, get the ball rolling, get your foot in the door, and then you're going to be creating new music 9 times out of 10 anyway. So that's why I say just start with 5. Michael Connor, should instrumental public domain covers have the melody featured prominently in them or leave room for dialogue, possible vocals added at a later stage? I always keep the melody prominent in those. This is what you can do. And the reason why is because I want them, especially if you're doing like a remix to something, you want them to be able to recognize the song. Like when you hear the melody to Jingle Bells, if you take that out, you might not know it's Jingle Bells if you did like some type of R&B hip hop version of it, you know, and you played some different things. So yeah, I would make it feature the melody, keep that prominent, and then if you want, you can create an alternate version that doesn't have that main melody, just in case. But yeah, usually they kind of want that stuff to be recognizable, to give it the Christmas vibe. But yeah, you can create both. Been getting DMs for paid collabs the same way. It's active. Yeah, that's crazy. They contact me. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. It sound like yeah. Yep, that's different. How do you feel about giving up writer share for royalties to get placements? I feel like that's a that's a personal thing. If that's something you feel comfortable with, that's 100% up to you at the end of the day. I would recommend you learn how to get placements yourself. And this is why. If whoever you give a percentage of those royalties to, you know, say whatever, something happens and then they stop getting placements, that means you stop getting placements and you're back to square one. And you still don't know how to get placements. So you leave all the power and all of the relationship in their hands, and you're depending on them to get your music placed, when you can go out and you can do the same thing, man. You can learn this stuff. I teach it in Road to 10 Placements, because that is going to make you valuable to yourself first, and then to others, because now you've developed a skill that no matter what happens in your career, no matter what happens with relationships with other composers and writers and things like that, you know how to go out and fish and get your own placements, get your own licensing deals and things like that. If a company you're working with, if they sell their catalog and then boom, they're no longer in business, you got to find a new company to submit music to. You have the skill to be able to go out and find another company. So literally, like, you've learned how to create money with your music forever. So, you know, yeah, you can give up a percentage of your writer share with somebody else who's getting placements. You can absolutely do that. But I would highly recommend learn how to do it yourself. That way you can keep more of the share of your writer share, and you have a skill that no one can take away from you. So no one can mess with your bag at the end of the day. Let's see. Okay, so I have a CPU full of beats and want to start getting placements to build up residual income. I have BMI. What should be my next step? Okay, you got BMI. Now I'll build that playlist of 5 tracks. Next step after building the playlist, start what am I trying to say? Start reaching out to companies. If you want the steps, I have 6 steps. It's a 6-step guide along with mistakes to avoid. Go to clintproductions.com/6 steps and download it for free. That way you'll see what the steps look like. So yeah, dope stuff. I'm catching up to all these questions. I'm probably like 15 minutes behind on questions. So let's see. Let's scroll up a little bit. All right, let me see. We got Hawaii in the building. Appreciate it. Shout out to Hawaii. Sometimes you get a check for a whopping 12 cents. That's a fact. Yo, my first royalty check was a little more than 12 cents. It was at least 57 cents. So, you know, you can get a few pieces of candy depending on what store you go to. You don't have to go to one of those mom and pop shops around the corner somewhere and get some penny candy, but you know, your music paid for that candy, for that Laffy Taffy. Can tracks be placed multiple times by different productions, or can one track only be placed for one show, for example? Depends on the deal. That's a great question. Depends on the deal. Now, a lot of times when you do the deals with the licensing companies, absolutely, you know, most cases that same track can be used across different productions at a time. You know, I have a track right now. It's being used on Love and Hip Hop. It's used on sports stuff, like all at the same time. It's being used on just a bunch of different places. So yes, and then you have those times where you may do something exclusive for a show, and it may be, you know, maybe that show wants to use it exclusively for a couple years, or whatever the term is. That can happen as well. So it really depends on the situation. To answer your question, yes, it can happen, as long as that is okay with what the paperwork says. Michael Connor says, shameless plug for Roll to 10 placements. Do it, peeps. I appreciate that, man. Do you think the 5 tracks should be different genres? We talked about that already. What are your thoughts on pitching covers of popular songs done in a different style? That's the thing, man. It's just a matter of knowing what those songs are, like the popular songs are, because then it's going to be an issue of, are they easy to clear? Because you're going to have different publishers, major songs, you get different writers and all of that stuff. So I usually the only time I do that, like creating covers specifically for sync, is if I get a brief to do that. Because if I'm getting a brief for it, somebody's asking for it and they're okay with going through the process to clear whatever songs they're asking for. And matter of fact, I got a brief to do that recently. That's the only time I'll do that, because, you know, if you don't, like, you could just be shooting, you could be wasting time doing a bunch of songs that, you know, you may like, and they may not get licensed because it may be expensive to clear all that stuff, and then depending on who you're pitching it to, they may not have the budget to do that. So it depends, but usually if it's a cover, if it's a remake, usually that licensing fee, it's going to be a little bit cheaper to do than the original master, so they could license that master recording way cheaper than the original master recording. That's a good question. Could you send me information about your mentorships? Indeed, go to producermentorship.com and apply. It's invite only, so you have to apply. And I only accept about a handful of producers, like 5 producers that I work with every 3 months. So yes, if you want to apply for that, go to producermentorship.com, put in your application, and once the slot opens up, and if you look like you'll be a good fit, we'll hop on a video call and chop it up and see if it's the best option for you. Let's see. Cat and Tiger says, how long should those 5 tracks be? I have super short pattern pieces and 15-minute long ones. Do not listen, Cat and Tiger. Do not send those 15-minute joints. Yo, so keep them. And there's times where, honestly, well, I don't know. Like, I guess if you're doing like a film or something, That's a lot of music. Good gracious. Like ambient, you know what I would do with the 15-minute stuff? If it's like ambient music, I would put that stuff on YouTube and streaming services, because people like to relax and sleep and meditate on that stuff. So that's what I would do with those. But keep them like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. That's a great length for the tracks that you are submitting. I do reviews tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube. Come back. We're going to do live music reviews. Instructions to submit will be in the description of the live stream video. So you'll have that. It's dope, man. It's going to be dope. We have fun. There's some crazy people in there that do very, very crazy things musically. So you will enjoy it. It's crazy. So let's go. Let's see. Flares, my guy Flares, who's one of the people who does crazy things on these reviews. Trailer music I've worked on is going to be considered by the Grammys this year. Do you have any experience with having your sync tracks in the award community? Grammy, PMA. Yo, well, congrats first off. That's dope. Let's see. Have I had? No, I have not had. I've submitted for PMA awards some tracks. But I have not been nominated or anything for an award as of yet, whether it be Grammy, PMA, what's the other one? Emmy, you know, because you can get an Emmy doing music for TV and film as well. Shout out to my guy Mike Myers. I know he's Emmy award winning. He won one. I know a couple other people who have some Emmys. So yeah, like that's always a possibility. Like sync takes you into like different worlds in as far as awards is concerned. So it's really interesting. So no, I don't have any experience in that outside of the PMA. Grammy, I was a voting member of the Grammy Academy. I haven't been active in like a couple years. But I have been a voting member and participated in voting for the Grammys. So I know what that process is like as far as, voting and going through the whole consideration phase and all of that stuff. So dope. Let's see. Okay, it's on streaming platforms. Boom, there you go. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So yeah, you listen, you pull an award like, and that's why I said sync. I said a long time ago on some content on IG. It's like getting your music placed in TV and film can definitely build your credibility as a producer. Number one, I mean, not everybody knows how to get music on TV and film. Like I tell people all the time, like they ask like what do you do? It's like I produce music for TV and film. Like how? Like how does that work? Like do they? And like nobody knows how it works. It's like this mysterious thing. Everybody knows about producing music for artists and things like that, but explaining to a regular person who doesn't do music that you do music for TV and film blows their mind. Like their reaction is priceless every time. So it builds that credibility. But then you get an award. It's like, yo, you're a producer, but you have an Emmy award. Like, how does that happen? So it's crazy. Streaming doesn't generate any income, though, unless you get millions of streams. This is correct. This is a fact. So, yeah, but the 15-minute stuff, just chop it up, or you can save it and possibly put it on stock music sites in case somebody with an indie film just wants a 15-minute score or something that they can kind of take and chop up and bring in and out and things like that. That's a possibility, and that way you can at least get some upfront licensing fees or whatever. So that's a possibility. Yeah, these are good questions, y'all. Keep them coming. Drop your questions in the chat. For the new people coming in, it's a live Q&A for the Music Is My Business podcast. If you have questions about music production, business, or sync, drop them in the chat, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And if I don't know, I'm going to let you know. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Because I don't know everything. G's Town says, I used to be a voting member for the Grammys. There are a lot of tracks to consider. It helps if you can get people to listen. Look for FYC for your consideration groups. Yes, agreed. There is a lot of tracks. There are some genres where there aren't as many, like, you know, like children's music and, you know, some of the other lesser popular genres. But yeah, and you're, you know, and everything else, man, it's a ton of music entered in that phase. So yeah, big congrats to where's the DJ horn? We're gonna give Flares the DJ horn for being considered and taking it to the next level. Well deserved too. Like, for those who haven't heard Flares music, it's insane. Come back to the live stream tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if he submitted anything or not, but hopefully he did. But yeah, amazing composer. It's crazy. I'm a singer, rapper, also produce my own work. Should I look to only place instrumentals, or should I also try and place music? Both. If you can, listen, use everything you have, like everything you know how to do. If you know how to mix, master, write, sing, rap, make the music, do all of it and try and get it placed. Do the whole thing, because you become that much more of an asset if you can do everything. Like, who wouldn't want to just come to one person, get a dope track, a dope song that works well for sync, and can mix it and master it and have it back to them mad quick, because they don't have to go outsource their mixing and mastering to another studio. So it's a win-win. Like, it's a one-stop shop. So yeah, like, try and place everything you know how to do. And then if you find that that's not working, say full songs aren't working, you know, then you can make adjustments, but start off with everything you know how to do. You don't have to trim your skills just to, you know, to get a placement, man. Like, go for it all. Try and get a whole song on that joint. Excuse me. Principled AF, what's good? Thank you for your gems. Is creating music for commercials, jingles, etc. a different process in terms of style and who to reach out to? It can be. Sometimes commercials can come from the same publishers who publish for TV and film as well. Jingles, I feel like those come more so from like ad agencies and things like that, or even directly from the company. But I feel like the branding and like ad agencies kind of deal a lot with the jingle stuff. But yeah, or you can hit up local company, like local small businesses, and, you know, ask if they want a jingle written for a radio ad or something like that, and then charge an upfront fee for that. But yeah, creating music for commercials, usually that's always, I won't say always, but that's usually from a brief. Like, you'll get a brief for a particular commercial, and they're looking for certain things, certain elements. They're usually pretty detailed in what they want and how things should build and what the tempo should be, because sometimes they'll have a track that's there that they kind of edit it to. So like when scenes change and things, it works well with a certain tempo. So usually you're kind of asked to create something with that same tempo and energy. But, you know, the process is really the same, man. It's like, yo, this is what we want. This is what we need. You know, here are the details. Here's the budget. Here's the deadline. Here are the terms. Boom. You make a decision on if you want to do it or not. So it's kind of the same thing pretty much. Do you prefer going through libraries or reaching out to Supervisor directly? I've done both. Libraries, I feel like, from my experience, libraries have saved me a lot of extra work, because there's a lot of admin stuff that kind of goes on with working directly with a supervisor on a production and things like that. Whereas a library takes care of a lot of the stuff that's needed to be taken care of. They take care of the registration, making sure things are registered with the pros. They take care of, if they need to do any paperwork with other artists or writers involved on the track, they take care of that. Take care of the collection of fees and all that stuff. They just kind of, they deal with all the admin stuff. You just kind of create and then submit it to them and keep it moving. So, there may be a little more admin work involved on your end if you're working directly with the supervisor, depending on how that situation is set up. You may have to do a little bit more extra paperwork, making sure all the writers are in agreement and you have that stuff set aside, and then then you're responsible. Like, I know one situation is like, I had to do the paperwork, I had to make sure all the writers were on the same page, communicating with them, making sure they could sign off on everything. I had to create the invoice, and then I had to cut the check. And when I cut the check, then I had to make sure everybody got paid what they were supposed to get paid. So it could be a little bit more extra work. Just depends on how the situation is set up with the supervisor and the library. Cat and Tiger, instructions will be in the stream. Actually, I think it's scheduled. Like, if you go to the scheduled stream video on my profile, like once you leave here, it should be scheduled. And then if you click in the details of that scheduled video or stream, then you should see the instructions down there. So yeah, how much do you recommend charging for a beat for a local artist in my city? Depends on where you are and how much in demand you are in, but I would say at least $500 to do that for a local artist. I think when I first started, man, I was giving, listen, I've learned some things, and man, I was giving away production. I'm talking live, man. I did an album. I did a couple projects at $150 each. Man, I was throwing live instrumentation on there. I was doing revisions, a lot of revisions. I was doing a lot for $150. But it was my first couple artists working with them. I was trying to get my chops up. So that was just the route I took. But then I had a mentor who was just like, yo, you should be charging at least $500. So then I raised my price, and then I started getting paid $500. Then I raised it again. And as the demand increases, you can kind of increase that. So if you're just getting started, do what you feel would be worth your time to do that. That's what I would do. So yeah, Sharon, what's good? Favorite libraries you've worked with? Man, shoot, let's see. Lab Hits was a cool one. BMG Production Music is a cool library. What's another one? Smash Coast Music, pretty cool library to work with. Producer's Toolbox. Those are a few of my favorite ones to knock stuff out for. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss any questions. Nope, we went that. Tom Adams Music was good. Chilling, man. We just sitting here chopping it up, asking questions. No problem, Lorenzo. Yeah, make sure it's worth your time. Don't sell yourself short. What you do is valuable. And it takes a lot of time to do it. So if you want, you can start by seeing what their budget is, and just kind of go from there. And then you know, it has to, as long as it makes sense, it has to make sense for you. If you want to do a couple things just to get your chops up, get your catalog, get some testimonials, then do what you have to do. But no, you can always raise your price at any time. And then make sure you do paperwork. Make sure you get an agreement and ask for half up front for you to start. That way, you really won't waste time. The quickest way to waste a bunch of time is not have it in writing. And man, you start something, then they decide, you know what, actually, I don't want to start right now, and then you just wasted time. You got nothing out of it. So at least get half up front to start, non-refundable, and then the second half once you finish. Man, you should be good to go. That'll protect your time and your energy. So yeah. But yeah, tonight, for the people who didn't catch it, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're gonna do live music reviews, seeing if your music is ready for TV and film. It's gonna be a good time. And yeah, details to submit is in that scheduled stream on my page. If you go to my page here on YouTube, you'll see it. You can go ahead and submit. Submissions are open, and we'll go and order a submission and things like that. And then if you want to skip the line, there's an option to do that as well. So yeah, Cat and Tiger, can you make a living just with placements? Absolutely. This is all I do full time. So yes, you can make a living doing placements, TV, film, sync, ads, whatever. So yes, absolutely. All right, y'all, I am out. I'm about to hop off, man. Listen, if you guys want my blueprint, my personal blueprint on how to get started in sync licensing and start getting your music placed in TV and film, then go to roadto10placements.com. This is where everything is laid out in order, the steps you need to take. I'll walk you through it, so you can learn how to get your own placements, and learn how to build a catalog of music that is generating passive income for you, is generating active income for you, and like we discussed earlier in the show, you can use that income as leverage to do other things as well. So go to roadto10placements.com. There's also a discount code in the description of this stream, this video, so use that. Since you guys are on the stream, you get that special code and take a percentage off of enrolling in that course today. So that's it, man. I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.